Today, I'm going to describe the 2021 short film Curve. A clip of a woman unconscious on the concrete floor appears at the outset of the film. She has a bloody finger and her shoes are stained with blood that has hardened. Despite this, she appears to be relatively unharmed given her circumstance. We are simultaneously shown clips of large waves cascading onto the shore. The collision produces a terrifying roaring sound that reverberates throughout the area where the woman is located. The commotion in her ears eventually rouses her from her state of unconsciousness. At first glance, she only sees concrete. She moves for the first time while bewildered and finds herself in the worst possible situation. At a tremendous height, the woman stands on the edge of a curved structure. Below the structure is a pitch-black void. Death is guaranteed if she makes one mistake and slips off the cliff. In addition, the position she is in is not advantageous because her left leg is stuck under her body and cannot be brought out. As anticipated, the woman panics upon first seeing the edge. She attempts to flee. However, the movement only causes her to descend further. Fortunately, she has not yet fallen off, but it seems inevitable that she will. The slide causes her left limb to move upwards, causing her significant pain. In addition, the rough and rigid concrete has scratched her palms. Her chest elevates as she silently prays for her life, despite the impossibility of her survival. We then see a comprehensive view of the structure she's trapped in, which appears to be a hydropower plant, even if she manages to avoid the precipice. The vertical wall behind her won't allow her to escape, but that's the least of her worries as she laments the situation she's in. A horn sounds from the abyss below, startling her and making her fear the fall even more. She concludes after some consideration that the commotion must be caused by the wind. She is somewhat relieved by the information until a louder roar is heard. The woman stares at the sky in frustration and screams a few seconds later. After a few minutes, there is complete silence. She can only hear her rapid breathing and the thoughts in her mind urging her to survive by any means necessary. She is aware that remaining immobile will eventually prove fatal. She is also aware that moving could be fatal to her immediately. Still, she is willing to risk it after taking a few deep breaths to compose herself. She positions her hands and right legs firmly on the ground and attempts to turn around. When she slides further down and reaches the absolute edge of the curve, the plot backfires. She holds herself down in an attempt to maintain composure. A few seconds later, she realizes that she must abandon her attempt to straighten her limb. The only way for her to escape the precipice is to lift herself up from her current position, but the slide has rendered her 10 times weaker. Her fingertips are currently profusely bleeding. After being scraped, she raises her right hand and separates two bloody digits that are stuck together. She then dries the blood on her garment so that her palm will not slip when she tries to climb again. Even the drying process is excruciatingly painful, but she valiantly endures it. After that, she blows on the incisions, desperate for some relief. Her blows are weak because she is afraid of committing fatal errors that will cause her to fall to her demise. After a lengthy period of deliberation, she raises her uninjured limb and pushes the concrete curb down with her bloodied palms as she raises her body in a painful arsing motion. Fortunately, the strategy succeeds this time, and she advances a few centimeters. Despite her size and sense of relief, the woman continues to take deeper breaths to compose herself. Her hands are now nearly numb from the agony. Nonetheless, she raises them one by one and breathes on them. She does not pause much before repeating the same action and ascending further. Eventually, she begins to experience hallucinations. She perceives the blood stains on the curb below, but her body is absent from her vision. She then begins to hyperventilate as she examines her palm and the blood stain. She is currently the furthest from the precipice, and a wall stands behind her. In a moment of panic, despite the fact that it is evident that she cannot clamber up under any circumstances, she attempts to do so once more. She quickly faces the consequences of her haste. When she slips a little, her terror causes her hallucinations to intensify. She glances down and observes the bloodstains expanding. She attempts to support herself once more, but pauses when she hears a loud sound. Upon returning to the photographs, she observes that 2 more have been added. Now that her only options are to either wait for her inevitable death or make a move that will hasten her demise. Something in her mind tells her that she will definitely survive if she continues doing what she was doing. The incorrect motivation demonstrates that her mind is unable to comprehend the gravity of the situation. Considering the circumstances, she cannot be expected to think clearly. The only problem is that her desire to survive may cause her to meet her demise sooner than she anticipated. when everyone else in her place would have given up. She puts her palm up and blows on it as she prepares to lift herself up. However, she slides back down a few centimeters in less than a second. The woman cannot afford to lose the progress she has achieved through strong motivation. Her anxiety begins to grow. In conjunction with her hallucination, she re-examines the footprints for the third time and observes that they have grown substantially. A screech suddenly echoes in the backdrop. The woman compares the sound of her death, summoning her from the shadows below the cliff's edge. At this point, her palms are nearly devoid of epidermis and can barely be scraped. The sky mocks and roars at her suffering, but the woman does not appear to care. Soon, it will begin to rain heavily. She is uncertain as to whether the circumstances are working against her or for her. The rain could end her suffering by murdering her sooner, or it could cause her greater suffering by destroying her chances of survival. In any case, for the first few seconds, she relishes the raindrops hitting her face, albeit briefly. She feels at ease, as if the curve has been her home since the beginning of time. However, her happiness does not last long. When the water lubricates the surface and glides her down, the woman closes her eyes and clenches her teeth in a desperate attempt to survive. She emits a shrill shriek, but it pales in comparison to the rumbling of the clouds. Then she recalls that she is wearing a chain necklace, which may assist her in maintaining the curve for longer. She seizes it firmly around her wrist and removes it from her. We see her hand slowly descend. Even with the chain on, it is unclear whether she survived the incident, given the circumstances. The conclusion is imaginable. Unlike most horror films, which rely on jump scares, this film creates a horrifying ambience and makes the audience experience the character's terror and dread. Fans believe that the film is excellent in every way because it appeals to viewers' primitive inclinations. It is something from nightmares that makes people aware of a previously unknown terror. That concludes the video. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to our Film Insider channel and click the bell icon. Until we meet again, take care.